Morning, everybody. So I got sent a replay by both Dave and Norg of a fantastic match that they had, and I thought to myself, let's try something different. So I'm doing a perspectives video. I'm cutting between Dave and Norg as they are playing in their Freddy de Grozes, and it's the first time I've tried something like this, so if the editing is a little bit shitty, do excuse me. I don't do this for a living. I do other stuff for a living. Alright, so we start with Dave here. He's in his Freddy. Norg is also in his Freddy de Groz. And then they're in a division with Lennel. Lennel is using his Puerto Rico. Or as I affectionately call it, the Puerto Rico. Although they're joking me, I'm now the pay to anchorage because I used doubloons to complete my anchorage. And I will put an anchorage review up in the next day or two. So the division has decided that they are going to go completely to the west side. And it is a storm front rolling in, which is obviously great for secondary build battleships because everything needs to get close to them. And the moment that you are close to a Freddy de Groza, your secondaries are going to open up and is going to turn your life upside down for you. So Dave is third here in the column, in the convoy, whatever you want to call it.
Enemy force detected.
And there's the first detection. And what is it that has seen them? The DD is obviously trying to take A, going into the cap points. I switch over to Norg. Norg is just behind Lennel. And unfortunately, a single over penetration. And there's the thunderstorm. You're approaching a thunderstorm front. Now Lennel's running Hydro. He is in the front of the pack for lack of better description, and therefore he runs the Hydro in case there is a speedy death pylon boat out there. The first customers are arriving. And there's Gutland. Good thing that Lennel was running the hydroacoustics. Obviously, Gutland doesn't have smoke, so he knows he's in a bit of trouble, having run into two Freddy de Grozes. And we see Norg has manual secondaries on his Freddy. He's already scored 12 secondary hits. He is worried about what is on the other side there. Last Gutland tries to find shelter behind that little island, but unfortunately that's not successful. And Norg gets close quarters expert and first blood. We switch back to Dave to see his interesting perspective as Norg and Lennel is in front of him. Unfortunately, they lose a Pomeran to an enemy St. Louis, and it's 1-1. There are still two enemy DDs out there, or as I like to call them, speedy death pylon boats. And we can see, apart from the friendly Gutland Haraguma, it is literally just the assault division on this side of the map in the storm. And there is a Pomeran, and what is quite surprising is that that Pomeran is in secondary build. So obviously, as you can see, both Grosser firsts, manual secondaries, Dave's as well here. And they're opening up on the Pomeran, and the Pomeran is 11-3 from Dave, and he should be closer to Norg, and his secondary is not going off. Enemy Cossack takes out friendly Benham. Norg and Dave's team is now 2 down versus 1. There's a whole lot of fireworks in the air. You can see finally the Pomeran secondaries are now shooting at Norg. And it looks like Norg has procced Gunter Luchens. So of course, for those that don't know, Gunter Luchens is one of the special commanders that you can get from Cole, like Kuznetsov and Andrew Cunningham. And one of his procs is, I think, 100 secondary hits. So they are being radar, and there is a Thunderer over there. Thunderer is a little bit of bad news. And Dave ends up surfing as I switch back to Norg. So we don't want to see Dave running the border there. It's Baltimore, Pomeran, Thunderer. And oof, Baltimore takes a big hit. Pomeran is coming up behind Norg in his Grosser first. Pomeran of course has 6K torps and can torpedo Norg here. Norg is trying to move out of the way. Ooh, 6 pins, 2 ricochets, and Lenol in the Puerto Rico kills him. Fast forward a bit. St. Louis, and there's Norg's second kill and a close quarters expert again. So Norg has got 2 close quarters experts, and the Thunderer has wisely decided that getting out of dodge is a good idea. Unfortunately, the enemy Torpedoes B has torpedoed the friendly Kagero. You don't see that happening often. Oh, did you see what Norg did there? We switch back to Dave. Dave is taking a different route and gives you a nice perspective. There's Norg, there's the Thunderer, and here's Dave. Dave shoots the island, makes swimming pools for the kids when the rains come. And Norg kills the Thunderer. So Norg is on 3 kills already. That is insane. That is insane. So now obviously there's the push to take the cap. The enemy have 2 caps versus no caps for Norg and Dave's team here. Oh, sorry about that sniff, everybody. A little bit of sinuses. It is clearing up. To the subscriber Yaku that suggested the salt water does work, thank you very much. And there's an enemy Chapayev in the distance that has realized it's a bad idea to be within secondary range of Grosser fists. And I'm staying with Dave here for a little bit, as he's got an exciting journey through the islands. Oof. And the enemy Cossack takes out the Georgia. Georgia's name, All Happy Cows Moo. Oh, that wins. That wins the internet for the best name for today.
Nice work.
Oh man, All Happy Cows Moo. Alright, so that Chapayev is obviously now twisting and turning while running away, kiting. You can see Norg is going south. as Dave pops hydroacoustics, because there is still one destroyer out there. And Dave and Lennel is going straight for the B cap. And this is St. Louis, 11 Ks off Dave's bow. And an Ohio. And something in smoke. That's bad. So the Chapayev is almost dead. And I cut this little piece in with something I've never tried before. 2 video overplays. We see in the bottom right corner Norg getting his 4th kill. Well done, Norg. This, as Dave is now pushing into the enemy Cossack. He does have hydroacoustic search running, and it is the German hydro for another 40 plus seconds. I think it's 6k hydro, so he should be able to avoid most speedy death pylons that come towards him. Notice Dave is not an idiot. He's got 2 fires burning, but he knows he might have a torpedo flood to deal with. And just before he hits the torpedo, he hits his repair. As Lennel in the Puerto Rico takes care of the Cossack. So I think that puts Lennel at 2 kills, Norg at 4 kills. That's 6 kills. They've killed half of the enemy team in their division. So with the Cossack out the way and the enemy fleeing, this allows Dave now to capture the B, or try and capture the B cap point. There's only 3 enemy ships left: St. Louis, Torpedoes B, and I think the Ohio. And Dave has got his sights fairly squarely set on killing the St. Louis. St. Louis, tier 9 French cruiser. It's actually not a bad ship. I really enjoyed my playthrough of it. It's great for kiting and setting fires. Oof, and now Ohio punishes Dave here. Takes out one of his turrets and sets him on fire. Unfortunately, he ricochets off the turrets that he's living on a prayer. Puts his secondaries on the St. Louis. And he has to be slightly careful as we switch to Norg. And Norg kills the St. Louis for his Kraken Unleashed. Now we can see obviously the Ohio still firing at Dave there in the distance. Norg has got his spotter plane up. He's keeping his distance. He's running out of heals, and he has only 20,000 health. So we switch back to Dave. Those are the torpedoes from the St. Louis. They missed by a mile. And there is Dave's Confederate. So Norg's got a Kraken, Dave's got Confederate, Lennel's also got 2 kills. Talk about the mother of all carries. That Ohio does the best thing that he can, basically bow on, try and defend, and he's got his manual secondary set on Norg, as we saw when I cut over. Norg wasn't way in vessel. Oh, there's a Harugamo coming in. Norg also gets his Confederate. And then Amagi kills the Ohio. Dave, you were robbed. You were robbed. So now it's only the enemy Torpedoes B that remains. And there's the notification. Battle ends in 5 minutes. And Turpitz B says, here you are, Puerto Rico, for Lennel, that's in there. And Lennel kills the Turpitz B for his third kill. We look at the after stats. 5 kills, Confederate, dual, close quarters, fireproof dreadnought. Phenomenal game, Dave. Phenomenal game, Norg. Thanks for sending it through. Hope everybody enjoyed this different perspective. And thank you for watching. We'll speak soon. Take care. Cheers.